Construction costs are rising at 12.6% a year, the fastest pace since 2022. Not because workers got raises, because the government slapped 50% tariffs on the steel, aluminum, and copper inside your walls. Today, 10 facts about how tariffs are quietly killing the dream of affordable housing, who's really paying, and what you can actually do about it. Number 1. Changes everything you think you know about building a home in America. Let's go. Number 10. The $17,500 tax you never voted for. Here's something nobody put on a ballot. Every new home built in America now costs an extra $17,500, just from tariffs. Not from better materials, not from better labor, from a tax on imported steel, copper, lumber, and cabinets that gets passed straight to you, the buyer. According to analysis from the Center for American Progress, using data from the Urban Brookings Tax Policy Center, current tariffs add roughly $27 billion per year to the cost of new residential construction. Divide that by the 1.55 million homes built annually, and you land at $17,500 per home. By 2028, if construction slows as projected, that number climbs to $18,500 per home. Now think about what $17,500 actually means. On a 30-year mortgage at 6.3%, which is roughly where rates sit right now according to Freddie Mac, that extra cost adds about $108 a month to your payment. Over 30 years, you're paying nearly $39,000 more. For nothing. For a tax that was supposed to protect American industry, but ended up taxing American families. And this isn't even the whole picture. The NAHB surveyed builders back in April 2025 and found the average builder estimated $10,900 in tariff costs per home at that time. Since then, tariffs on steel, aluminum, and copper jumped to 50%. Lumber duties on Canadian imports went from 14.5% to 35%. Kitchen cabinets are sitting at 25%, with a planned increase to 50%. The $17,500 number isn't a ceiling, it's a floor. So what do you do with this? If you're shopping for a new build right now, understand that $17,500 of your purchase price is pure tariff cost. That's your leverage in negotiation. Builders know it. You should too. Ask what materials they're sourcing domestically. Ask if they've locked in prices or if there's escalation risk. And if someone tells you, tariffs don't affect home prices, show them this math. This is the new reality. The home didn't get better, the price just got bigger, and the receipt goes straight to your mailbox for the next 30 years. We move on to number 9. It gets heavier. Number 9. Steel at 50%. The skeleton of your home just got a lot more expensive. Every home has a skeleton. Nails, brackets, structural connectors, ductwork, beams in the garage, steel reinforcing in the foundation. You don't see most of it once the drywall goes up, but you're paying for every ounce of it. In June 2025, tariffs on imported steel and aluminum were hiked to 50% under Section 232 of the Trade Act. Not 10%, not 25%, 50%. According to the Associated General Contractors of America, the Producer Price Index for steel mill products jumped 17% in 2025 alone, the steepest annual rise since 2022. Aluminum mill shapes soared 30.5%. These aren't small numbers. These are the kinds of spikes that blow up construction budgets overnight. And it's not just the raw metal, it's everything made from it. The structural framing connectors from Simpson Strong Tie, the HVAC ductwork running through your attic, the garage door, the steel reinforcement in your slab foundation. Every one of those products uses imported steel or aluminum somewhere in its supply chain. And every one of those products is more expensive today than it was 18 months ago. Here's the part that makes it worse. The tariff applies to the full sales price of the imported metal, not just the raw material cost. So if a steel coil arrives at $800 a ton, the 50% tariff hits the entire $800. That's a $400 tax per ton. On a typical single-family home, you're looking at several tons of steel products across framing hardware, ductwork, appliances, and reinforcement. It adds up fast. The kicker? U.S. steel production hasn't ramped up to fill the gap. According to Federal Reserve industrial production data, domestic output has been essentially flat. So we're paying 50% more and getting the same supply from fewer sources. That's not protection, that's a squeeze. If you're building, ask your builder to itemize steel and metal costs separately so you can see exactly what you're paying. If you're buying existing, congratulations. Your home's replacement cost just went up, which means your insurance premiums might follow. Number 8 goes deeper into the wiring in your walls, literally. Number 8, copper at 50%. The wiring inside your walls is now a luxury item. You probably never think about the copper in your house, but it's everywhere. Every outlet, every switch, every wire running from your breaker panel to your kitchen, your bathroom, your bedroom. The pipes bringing hot water to your shower. A typical new home uses between 400 and 450 pounds of copper. It's one of those invisible costs that builders have always dealt with quietly. Not anymore. In July 2025, a 50% Section 232 tariff was imposed on imported copper products. According to data from Gordian, the price of copper electric wire surged 5.3% in Q2 2026 alone. Year over year, copper wiring costs are up 18.4% since Q2 2025. The Joint Economic Committee's April 2026 report found that the price of copper and copper products in February 2026 was 25% higher compared to the year before. On the London Metal Exchange, cash copper pushed above $13,000 per ton in early 2026, according to industry tracker Contractor Plus. Copper accounts for 60 to 70% of the cost of standard electrical cable. When the raw material jumps like that, the finished product follows. Now here's where it actually hits your wallet. The electrical rough-in on a new home, meaning all the wiring before the walls get closed up, used to run around $8,000 to $12,000 depending on the size. Builders are now reporting estimates $2,000 to $4,000 higher than 2 years ago. If you're doing a renovation that involves rewiring, kitchen remodel, adding a home office, converting a garage, that number hits you too. And there's a cruel irony. The push toward electric vehicles, solar panels, heat pumps, all of that requires more copper, not less. Demand is going up. Supply is restricted by tariffs. Prices have one direction. If you're planning a build or major remodel, lock in your electrical contract early. Get a fixed price quote before materials get ordered. And if your builder says prices might change, make sure the contract says by how much and who pays. The copper in your walls just became one of the most expensive things in your home, and nobody's talking about it. Number 7 walks into the room everyone remodels first. Number 7, kitchen cabinets at 25%, and 50% is coming. Walk into any new home, and the first room the realtor shows you is the kitchen. It's the selling point, the granite, the island, the cabinets. And right now, those cabinets might be the most tariff-loaded item in the entire house. In October 2025, a 25% tariff was imposed on imported kitchen cabinets, vanities, and upholstered wooden furniture under Section 232. That rate was originally supposed to jump to 50% on January 1st, 2026. The administration delayed the increase to January 1st, 2027, but the 25% is active right now, and the 50% is still on the table. According to industry analysis from Next Day Cabinets, that 25% tariff typically translates to a 15 to 25% retail price increase for homeowners. A $3,000 imported cabinet order might now cost $3,600 to $3,750. On a full kitchen remodel, where cabinets alone can run $10,000 to $25,000, the tariff adds $2,000 to $5,000 that didn't exist 2 years ago. Why does this matter so much? Because the vast majority of kitchen cabinets sold in America are manufactured overseas, primarily in China, Vietnam, and Malaysia. There isn't enough domestic production to fill the gap. American cabinet manufacturers exist, absolutely, but they can't scale overnight to replace the volume coming from Asia, and their prices are already higher. And here's the second order effect. Builders who used to include upgraded cabinets as a standard feature are now downgrading to cheaper options to keep the sticker price down. You're paying more and getting less. One builder in a recent NAHB survey said he switched from soft-close dovetail cabinets to particle board boxes with laminate fronts, and the cost still went up 8%. If you're remodeling, order your cabinets now, seriously, before January 2027, when that rate might double. If you're buying new construction, ask the builder specifically what brand and grade of cabinets are included and what the upgrade costs look like. The standard kitchen in a new home is about to get a lot more standard. The cabinets aren't the only wood product getting hit. Number 6 is about the wood holding your roof up. Number 6, Canadian lumber duties at 45%, and domestic sawmills can't keep up. Here's a question: where does the wood in your home come from? If you said America, you're partly right, but roughly 25% of all softwood lumber used in U.S. construction is imported from Canada. That's not a choice builders make because they hate American trees. It's because U.S. sawmills physically do not produce enough lumber to meet demand. They haven't for years. Canada accounts for roughly 85% of all U.S. softwood lumber imports, according to NAHB. In 2025, the Commerce Department raised countervailing and anti-dumping duties on Canadian lumber from 14.5% to 35%. On top of that, a 10% Section 232 tariff applies to all timber and lumber imports. Combined, Canadian lumber now faces total duties of approximately 45%. The premise was simple: protect American sawmills, grow domestic production. The reality, according to Federal Reserve G.17 industrial production data, U.S. sawmill production has been essentially flat for the past 2 years. A report from Wood Central in April 2026 confirmed the Commerce Department moved to cut duties slightly, down to about 24.8% on the countervailing side. But the Section 232 tariff holds the effective rate at 35%. The net result is minimal relief. Meanwhile, more than 4% of U.S. sawmills have closed since these tariffs ramped up, according to industry tracking. Production hasn't grown, prices have, and the very industry these tariffs were supposed to save is shrinking. What this means for you is straightforward. Lumber is a massive component of every wood-framed home in America. The studs, the roof trusses, the sheathing, the subflooring. Higher lumber costs ripple through the entire construction budget. The NAHB estimates lumber makes up about 1.7% of a new home's total price directly. But when you factor in everything that touches wood, the real number is significantly higher. If you're buying, this is baked into the price you're seeing. If you're building, ask your builder if they've pre-purchased lumber or if they're buying at spot prices. The difference can be thousands of dollars on a single-family home. We're taxing our neighbor's wood, our own sawmills are flat, and nobody's winning, except the government collecting the tariff revenue. Number 5 hits your wallet from a direction you might not expect. Number 5. 450,000. Fewer homes by 2030. The supply crisis tariffs made worse. America is already short on homes. You know this. You feel it every time you look at a listing and the price doesn't make sense. According to Realtor.com's 2026 Housing Supply Gap report, the U.S. is short approximately 4.03 million homes, up from 3.8 million in 2024. That gap has been growing every single year. Now add tariffs to that picture. The Center for American Progress estimates that tariff-driven cost increases will result in roughly 450,000 fewer homes being built between 2026 and 2030. That's not speculation. That's economic modeling using supply elasticity data from 6 peer-reviewed studies, applied to the $27 billion in additional construction costs the Urban Brookings Tax Policy Center calculated. From 2030 onward, the shortfall would be approximately 100,000 fewer homes per year. The Center for American Progress says that's equivalent to eliminating 6% of all homes built between 2020 and 2024. 6%. Gone. Not because nobody wants them, not because there's no demand, because it costs too much to build them. The National Association of Home Builders is already seeing this play out in real time. Builder confidence fell to 34 in April 2026, the lowest since September 2025. In 2025, housing starts came in at an estimated 1.36 million, down 0.6% from 2024. By the end of 2025, the rate of new permits was below late 2024 levels. August 2025 saw the lowest residential permit issuance since May 2020, one of the worst months of the pandemic shutdown. So here's the math nobody in power is doing out loud. We're 4 million homes short. Tariffs will prevent 450,000 from being built, and the ones that do get built cost $17,500 more each. That's not a housing policy, that's a housing trap. What does this mean for buyers? Fewer new homes means less competition for existing homes, which means existing home prices stay elevated longer. The supply that was supposed to bring prices down isn't coming. If you're waiting for the market to normalize, understand that tariffs just push that timeline back by years. If you own a home already, your replacement cost just went up. Your home's value has a floor under it that tariffs are reinforcing. You're a renter hoping to buy? Number 4 might hurt to hear. Number 4. First-time buyers. Need $111,000 a year, and tariffs just made it worse. Let's talk about who really pays for all of this. It's not the builder. It's not the bank. It's the 28-year-old couple with 2 incomes and a dream that keeps getting further away. According to a February 2026 report from Redfin, homebuyers now need to earn $111,000 annually to afford the median-priced home in the United States. That's down slightly from $115,870 a year ago, but still far above the national median household income of roughly $80,000. The gap between what you need to earn and what most people actually earn is over $30,000 a year. And for first-time buyers specifically, the picture is bleaker. The median age of first-time homebuyers has climbed to a record high. According to NAHB data, the minimum income required to purchase a new median-priced home at $413,595, assuming a 6% mortgage rate, is $121,674. Think about that. To buy a brand new, average-priced home in America, you need to be in the top 20% of household earners. Now layer on the tariff math. That $17,500 in additional tariff costs per home? On a 30-year mortgage, it adds roughly $108 per month. That might sound small to some, but for a first-time buyer already stretching to qualify, an extra $108 a month can mean the difference between getting approved and getting denied. NAHB estimates that every $1,000 increase in the price of a new home prices out approximately 113,000 households nationally. At $17,500 per home, you're talking about nearly 2 million potential buyers pushed out of the market. And here's the part that stings. Realtor.com's supply gap report found that 1.82 million millennial and Gen Z households were missing in 2025, the highest count in 4 years. These are people who should be forming households, buying homes, building equity. Instead, they're stacked in rentals or living with family because the math doesn't work. Your move? If you're a first-time buyer, don't try to time the market on tariffs. Nobody knows when or if these tariffs get rolled back. Focus on what you can control, your credit score, your debt-to-income ratio, and finding builders who are offering incentives right now, because many of them are desperate. That's number 3. Number 3. Builders are bleeding, 80%. Now offer rate buy-downs just to sell. Here's the thing about tariffs that nobody in Washington seems to understand. When you raise the cost of building a home by $17,500, the builder can't just slap that onto the price and walk away, because the buyer can't afford it. So the builder eats part of it, then offers incentives to eat more of it, and then prays that someone signs before the next tariff hike. According to a January 2026 NAHB survey, 80% of builders are now offering mortgage rate buy-downs to move inventory. 55% are buying rates down into the 4% range, on a market where the actual 30-year fixed rate is 6.3%, according to Freddie Mac as of April 2026. Another 20% are offering buy-downs in the low to mid 5% range. That's builders spending tens of thousands per home just to manufacture affordability the market doesn't naturally have. And it's not just rate buy-downs. 67% of builders reported using sales incentives in December 2025, the highest share in more than 5 years, according to Realtor.com. Price cuts are widespread too. About 40% of builders cut list prices in December, with average reductions around 5%. Realtor.com data showed 19.3% of new construction listings had price reductions by February 2026. Average selling prices across the new home market are down 7% from their 2022 peaks, according to PropMoto analysis, and incentives are consuming more than 14% of some builders' home values. That's not a healthy market. That's a market on life support. Builders are simultaneously paying more for materials, thanks to tariffs, and receiving less from buyers who can't afford the inflated prices. Their margins are getting crushed from both sides. The JEC report from April 2026 found that 60,000 jobs in home construction disappeared between December 2024 and February 2026. Builder confidence hit 34 in April, deep in pessimistic territory. Some builders are simply stopping, not because demand isn't there, because the economics don't work. If you're buying a new home right now, this is actually your moment. Builders are offering incentives they've never offered before. Rate buydowns, closing cost credits, free upgrades, price cuts. Take advantage. But read the fine print. Some temporary buydowns reset after 2 or 3 years, and your payment jumps. Demand a permanent rate buydown or a real price reduction, not a marketing gimmick. Number 2 takes this from new construction to the house you already own. Number 2. Your renovation just got a tariff surcharge. Maybe you're not buying a new home. Maybe you're thinking, I'll just fix up what I have. New kitchen, new bathroom, finally redo that deck. Smart move, right? Not as smart as it used to be. According to Forbes Advisor's April 2026 analysis, the 25% tariff on kitchen cabinets and vanities directly impacts renovation budgets, and that rate is set to potentially double to 50% by January 2027. The same 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum hit every piece of hardware, every pipe fitting, every faucet in your remodel. Copper tariffs at 50% mean the rewiring for your kitchen remodel costs significantly more. And the 10% tariff on lumber, combined with the 35% Canadian duties, means the framing for your addition or deck rebuild is pricier than ever. Here's a real-world breakdown. According to Modernize, a home improvement cost tracker, a mid-range kitchen remodel in 2026 runs $30,000 to $75,000, depending on scope. Contractors report that tariff-related material cost increases are adding 8 to 15% to project estimates compared to 2024. On a $50,000 kitchen job, that's $4,000 to $7,500 in pure tariff pass-through. And it's not just kitchens. Plumbing fixtures sourced from tariff supply chains, faucets, shower heads, valves, all carry elevated prices. Appliances, too. The JEC's April 2026 report found that popular ovens at major retailers increased in price by $70 on average, a 9% jump. When your contractor quotes you a bathroom renovation and the number seems high, part of what you're looking at is a tax that was imposed 8,000 miles from your house. The cruelest part? Many homeowners renovate to add value, to build equity. But if the renovation costs 10 to 15% more than it should, your return on investment shrinks. You're spending more to get the same bump in value you would have gotten 2 years ago for less. What can you do? Get multiple bids. Ask specifically about material sourcing. Domestic options exist for some products and may avoid tariff surcharges. If your renovation timeline is flexible, consider waiting on cabinets until after the tariff situation clarifies. And if a contractor can't tell you where your materials are coming from and what tariff exposure exists, find one who can. Number 1 is the biggest picture of all, and it might be the most infuriating. Number 1, the vicious circle. Tariffs make homes expensive. Expensive homes make tariffs permanent. This is the fact that keeps economists up at night. Tariffs on construction materials create a self-reinforcing trap, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's how the circle works. Tariffs raise material costs. Higher costs mean fewer homes get built. 450,000 fewer by 2030, according to the Center for American Progress. Fewer homes mean less supply. Less supply means prices stay high. High prices mean homeowners have more value on paper. More home value means higher property tax assessments. Higher assessments mean more tax revenue. More revenue means less political incentive to lower tariffs, and the circle closes. Meanwhile, the housing supply gap, already at 4.03 million homes, according to Realtor.com, keeps growing. Construction input prices are running at a 12.6% annualized rate in early 2026, according to the Associated Builders and Contractors. Builder confidence is at 34, the lowest since September 2025, per the NAHB. Housing starts in 2025 came in at 1.36 million, below what's needed to even maintain the current gap, let alone close it. And the people pushing back? They're running into walls. Senators Rosen and Coons introduced the Housing Tariff Exclusion Act in February 2026, a bill that would automatically exempt many home building materials from current and future tariffs. NAHB backed it publicly. The logic is simple. You can't say you want cheaper homes and simultaneously tax every nail, pipe, and board that goes into one. But as of April 2026, the bill hasn't passed. The tariffs remain. So where does this leave you? In a market where the median new home price is $400,500 as of January 2026 census data, and falling slightly, but only because builders are desperately cutting prices and eating costs they can't sustain forever. In a market where you need $111,000 a year to afford a median home, per Redfin. In a market where the government is collecting billions in tariff revenue from an industry that's losing tens of thousands of jobs and building fewer homes every year. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed, just not for you. Here's your playbook. If you're buying, negotiate hard. Builders need you more than you need them right now. Use their desperation to get permanent rate buy-downs, real price cuts, and closing cost credits. If you're building, lock in material prices in your contract with an escalation cap. Do not sign an open-ended cost-plus agreement in a tariff environment. If you're renovating, stage your project. Do the work that uses domestic materials first. Delay tariff-heavy components until the policy picture clears. And if you own a home and you're staying put, check your property tax assessment. Your home's value may have risen on paper because of these dynamics, and you might be overpaying. Don't wait for someone in Washington to fix this. They built the trap. They're not the ones stuck in it. Conclusion: 10 facts. $17,500 per home. 450,000 homes that won't get built. Steel, copper, lumber, cabinets, all taxed at rates we haven't seen in decades. This isn't a housing market. It's a tariff market dressed up as one. Whether you're buying, building, or just trying to keep the home you've got, the rules changed. Know them. Use them. Nobody's coming to save you. Plan accordingly.